Now, let's talk about what happens when we divide or multiply decimals by 10 or other powers of 10, so 100, 1,000, etc. Let's look at this little animation. We're going to look at two different examples. So in one case where we're multiplying by a power of 10, and another example when we're dividing by a power of 10. So let's start with 4.67 that we're multiplying by 100. Now, the result of that is 467. How have we gone from one to the other? Well, I mean, we could use a calculator, but in the GMAT in quant, we can't use that. So the simplest way to go from one to the other is actually just to move the decimal point along by 2 steps. So it was between the 4 and the 6 here. And then afterwards, well, 467 technically does not have a decimal point, but we could write 467.0. It would be exactly the same thing. So implicitly, the decimal point is here after the 7. And you've noticed that it's gone 2 steps along to the right. Okay? And it just happens that in this 100, we have 2 zeros. So when we're multiplying by a power of 10, we count the number of zeros and we move the decimal to the right by that number of zeros. For division, it's the same thing, but to the left. So in this case, we're starting with 56.8. We're dividing by 1,000. So in this case, we're dividing, so we have to go to the left. And we have 3 zeros in 1,000, so we have to move the decimal point 3 points to the left. Now, it starts here between the 6 and the 8. 1 step would be here, 2 steps would be here, but then at this point, we're already at the end of the number. So we have to add another 0 before we put the dot here. And we end up with 0.0568.